Hello again. Happy Saturday. Get it? We are here again for another decluttering video. It seems that you guys really liked the one that I posted where I decluttered a bunch of eyeshadow palettes. I got rid of like 19 eyeshadow palettes, I believe. So that was very exciting and it felt so good to just declutter those from my life. So we're gonna do a little bit more decluttering. Today we're gonna declutter my bronzers, blushes, and highlights. This drawer is also overflowing and just has just too much. It's overwhelming. I don't use it all. We definitely need to declutter some things. So let's go. Okay, welcome to the dreaded drawer. This is so unorganized, so overwhelming, and just, I don't even really like looking in this drawer anymore because it's just so hard to find things. It makes no sense. But basically the organization that I had at one point was bronzers, blushes, highlights. So it's kind of organized in order of putting them on the face, but it has just gotten way out of hand. Let's just dive in. I think we should start here with bronzers maybe. Like I said, it is kind of disorganized, so there are some blushes in the bronzer areas and bronzers in the blushes area. It's a mess. So we're gonna start with this little organizer right here. I don't know how well I'm gonna do with this declutter, but I'm gonna cross my fingers that this goes well. The first thing in here is the Benefit Hoola bronzer. This is kind of like a staple bronzer in my collection. I really like it because it's matte and it's not too cool toned, it's not too warm. It's kind of like that perfect bronzer shade. I think I'm gonna keep this for a little while longer. I definitely have made a bit of a dent in there, so I definitely use it. I'm gonna keep this one for a little while longer. Next we have two bronzers from ColourPop. These are their pressed powder bronzers. Now what kind of stinks about these bronzers is once you put them in these compacts, you can no longer see what shade the bronzer is. So we're just gonna use an earring to pop out the bronzer because I know there is one that I use more than another. So this one is in the shade Afternoon Delight, and then this one is in the shade Private Party. I don't think I need to keep both of these. I'm just gonna swatch them. Private Party has a little bit of a sheen to it, really pretty. And then Afternoon Delight is a little bit more red. I think I'm only gonna keep Private Party. I don't think I really use Afternoon Delight that often, so I'm gonna pass this one on. So next we have the MAC Bronzing Powder. This is in the shade Matte Bronze. And I've definitely gotten some really good use out of this. This was my staple bronzer for quite some time. And I think I'm just gonna throw this one out because I don't reach for it. It's not really like swatching, like there's even anything to it. Like nothing's coming off of my hand. So I don't think I'm gonna pass this on because it's barely, there's barely anything left. It's been well loved. So I'm gonna probably just throw this one out. Next we have my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I am not passing this on. This is one of my favorite bronzers ever. It's so nice. This one's in the shade just Bronzer. This is absolutely amazing. Like, oh. And it's the best drugstore bronzer out there, so I cannot pass this one on. So we're gonna keep this one. Next we have another MAC bronzer. This is in the shade Nude on Board, and this is one of their limited edition packaging. And this one, obviously, I have Hit Pan. That's probably the most used product I have in my entire collection. I don't even know why I still have this, but it's a really pretty, more like yellowy toned bronzer, so I really liked that one for a while. I think I'm gonna probably just throw it out just to clear up some room because there's really not much left of it, and I don't even know if they make this bronzer anymore, so I think I'm just gonna throw this one out. Next we have a Milani Baked Bronzer. This is in the shade Dolce. I think I actually just purchased this recently, so I haven't really even broken the surface of it. I think I'm gonna keep it a little bit longer. I don't know how obsessed I am with it because that's a pretty orange bronzer, but it has a nice sheen to it. I wanna like keep playing with it and see how I like it, and then maybe I'll pass it on later. Next we have the Bahama Mama bronzer from the Balm Cosmetics. This one is probably the deepest bronzer that I own, and it's a really nice contour shade. I think I'm gonna keep this one. I don't really use it too often, but it's so different from anything else that I have in my collection that I just feel like I shouldn't really pass it on yet just because I don't have anything else like it. So we're gonna keep this one for a little bit longer. And then we have, oh, this is an individual bronzer from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's like a refill for their contour kit. This one's in the shade Copper Brown. That's really different too, actually, but it's very red. It kind of reminds me of this one, actually. I don't know how I feel about this one. I think I might keep it a little bit longer just because it is nice and compact. It's not taking up that much room, and I haven't really played with it too much yet, so I might keep it, play with it a little bit more, and then see how I feel. There are more bronzers that just couldn't fit in this little organizer, so let's find those. We have this one here. This is the Tarte Park Ave Princess bronzer. This is the more shimmery one. Now this is actually one of my favorite shimmery bronzers of all time. This one just, oh my god, it's so pretty. It has the most beautiful sheen to it. I am not passing this on. That's one of my favorite bronzers. These are all blushes up front here. There's some more bronzers in the back of the drawers. This is the stupidest packaging that I've ever seen in a makeup product in my entire life. I'm kind of upset about it. You look at this and you're like, oh my god, that's probably like the coolest product ever, but it's just a bronzer. The bronzer definitely doesn't go to the bottom of this package, but yet this is the most unnecessary packaging I've ever seen in my life. But with that being said, this is one of the most beautiful bronzers I own, unfortunately. Like, oh, so pigmented, not too warm, not too cool. I love this bronzer. This is from Kiko. This is their Silk Pearl Illuminating Bronzer in number 2. I got this when I worked at Kiko a few years ago, and I've held on to it just because it is really beautiful, and I do still reach for it because it's nice and deep and dark, so I can use it to contour, but I think I'm going to hold on to it a little bit longer. I wonder if I can figure out how to like depop this, because this is just so unnecessary and takes up so much room in my drawer. I have like a love-hate relationship with this for sure, but we're going to keep it just for a little while. Next we have my newest bronzer and my baby. This is my Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer in the shade Tantastic. Oh, you guys, this is absolutely stunning. Obviously I'm not passing this on. I just bought it less than a month ago and I have not stopped using it. It's just the most beautiful shade. It's not too dark. It's like just the most natural bronze. I'm obsessed with this. I'm not passing this on. I don't think I ever will. It's so pretty. The packaging is kind of annoying because obviously like I can't put it in here. It's very large, but that's also nice. Like this is gonna last me a really long time. So next, bronzers in the back of the drawer. I think I'm gonna pass this one on even though I do really like it, but I'm only gonna keep one Kiko bronzer because I can't recommend these, so there's no point in keeping that many. This was another one of their limited edition Kiko bronzers. It's the Essential Bronzer in Warm Melange. And it's kind of like marbled. This bronzer is actually really beautiful and you get so much product, but there's just no point in me keeping it anymore. Like, it's so nice. Has a sheen to it. It's nice and orangey, but I think I'm going to pass this one on. I don't think I need it anymore. I've had it for years, and although I do reach for it every now and then, it's not like a staple in my collection anymore, so I'm going to pass this one on. Also, in the back of this drawer was this from Kiko as well. This is from like one of the same collections. I think I'm going to pass this on. It's like a bronzer blush duo, but it's pretty old. I really don't reach for this. It's all the way back in the back of my drawer, so I don't use this one anymore. This is the Tasteful Rosy Mauve Color Allure Face and Body Powder. Again, I can't recommend this because you can't purchase it in the United States anymore. I don't even think they carry this one because it was limited edition, and I just really don't reach for it. It's nothing like super special, so we're gonna pass this one on. What else do we have back here? So we can do these. They're kind of like palettes that have bronzers, blushes, highlights, things like that. This is the Becca Sun Chaser palette. It has a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight. So this is actually really beautiful, and this bronzer is kind of different from anything else that I have. It's very shimmery, very like warm orange. That's like a perfect bronzer shade. And I actually really like this blush, and the highlight is in the shade Opal, which is a really good Becca highlight. So I'm going to keep this palette because I still do dip into it. I love Becca products, so I'm going to hold on to this. Then we have this Pure Sculptor palette. This is a bronzer and a highlight palette. And these are probably the darkest, deepest bronzers that I own. But these highlights though, I always forget I have these. Those are stunning. I know we're not on the highlight section, but those are really pretty highlights right there. The bronzers, I've used this one before to contour because it's so freaking dark and so cool toned. It is the most intense contour that I probably have in my drawer. So for that reason, I think I'm going to keep this palette just so that if I do want to do like the craziest contour I possibly can, I know that I can reach for this. And these highlights are really pretty and I really like to dip into those a little bit more. So I'm going to keep this one. So I think that might be it for bronzers actually. I don't have a ton, I guess. So we have this little section here, and then I have 2 of the larger bronzers that I'll stick right in the back here along with the Kiko one. So that's pretty good. We got rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bronzers. Let's move on to blushes, because this is the one that I know is gonna be like so stressful, and there's just so many freaking blushes in this drawer, it's unbearable. So first things first, we have this individual blush from MAC Cosmetics. It's one of their sheer tone blushes in the shade Blush Baby. I purchased this for my pro makeup kit actually, and then I just never put it in there. So I'm gonna put this on my vanity to put into my makeup kit because it doesn't really need to be in this drawer, and it's just gonna get destroyed being like loose in this drawer. So I'm gonna put this somewhere where I remember to actually put it into my pro makeup kit. I have a couple blushes over here. So this one right here is one of the newer blushes that I recently purchased. This is the Flower Beauty Peach Primrose powder blush, and this is actually really stunning. I just used this in my Instagram followers pick my makeup video, and it's just one of the most perfect peach blushes. Very orange, but super nice. This will be great for summer. Very excited to use that, so we're gonna keep it. That's a highlight. Let's put that right here for now. Okay, the next blush is another Kiko blush, unfortunately. This was another one of their limited editions, but this is actually one of my favorite blushes of all time. I've had this for years and I still dip into it, and I've definitely like made a dent in it. It's just, when you mix all these together, and the sheen that it has, just so gorgeous. Like, wow. That's like the perfect blush. I wish that I could still like get this. I wish it wasn't limited edition, but I am still gonna keep it because I still reach for it, even though like I'll reach for this on days that I'm not filming, because I know I can't recommend this to purchase, but I like to wear it on a daily basis, so I am gonna keep it a little while longer. Next we have 2 Burt's Bees blushes. This one is in Toasted Cinnamon and the other one's in Bare Peach. I've had Toasted Cinnamon for a little while and I just purchased Bare Peach. Toasted Cinnamon, I don't really reach for this a lot. I definitely have like used it a few times, but it's just a little weird to me. Like, I don't really have anything else like this. It's so orange. I just don't really know how I feel about it. When I wear it, I just feel very like orange looking, and I don't know how much I like it as a blush. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more because it's a little bit of a newer purchase. I definitely purchased it within this year, so I still want to play with it a little bit more. But I did just purchase this one in Bare Peach because I really do like the formula. I just wanted to try a different color. This one's definitely a lot more wearable. It has a much more of a coral undertone, but can you imagine that in the summer? That's gonna look so pretty. And these have such a nice sheen to them as well. They just give your cheeks a really nice iridescent glow. So I'm really excited to play with that come summertime, but I'm gonna keep those 2 because they are newer and I'm still playing around with them. Okay, oh, this is, I don't know why this is in here. This is a product by Danessa Myricks. It's her in light powder. This is in the shade in Light Aura of Love. I purchased this when I was in California last year from Friends Beauty, and I really just wanted to try something a little bit different. This is so interesting. This is not really a blush, but it's also not really a highlight. The shade that I chose is definitely, it's so hard to explain. It's definitely too intense and like colored to be a highlight, but it's also not pink enough to be a blush. It's kind of like a cool topper, and it has a really nice duochrome to it. It's really, really interesting. I haven't played with it too much. I actually also purchased this to use in my makeup kit for like editorial shoots, but I just haven't really played around with it. I think I'm gonna put this with the blush from MAC that I need to put into my kit so that I do use it and see if I like it, because I honestly haven't really tested it out to see if I even like it, so I definitely don't want to pass it on yet because it is really stunning, but I just haven't really found the perfect use for it yet, but we're gonna do that. Next we have this blush from Revolution. It's the matte blush in the shade Fusion. I don't ever use this. This is a pretty cool, unique color. It's pretty intense and pigmented. Like, look at that, that's insane. I think I'm gonna pass this on just because I really never reach for this. This is not really my kind of color. I like something a little bit more natural. I do prefer something with a little bit of a sheen, and this is completely matte. So I think I'm gonna pass this one on. I think somebody else could really make some use out of this. So put this in the pass on pile. I'm just kind of trying to like reorganize as we go. I'm kind of failing, but we're gonna try to make it work. Next we have this blush from the brand Note, and it is in the shade Desert Rose. It's a Luminous Silk Compact Blusher. I believe I got this in a BoxyCharm. This is actually a really beautiful blush that I don't think I have even swatched yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Wow, this is super pigmented. Oh my god. I feel like with my blushes, I have so many that I'm gonna need to do some swatch comparisons just to see like what I actually need, because I don't really need the same color in a bunch of different brands. This is the Burt's Bees blush, this is the Flower Beauty blush, and this is the Note blush. I think I'm actually gonna keep it. I kind of like it. I never even swatched it because it just came in one of my BoxyCharms. But yeah, this is kind of a cool, different blush that I want to play with a couple times this summer, so I'm not gonna pass it on quite yet. I feel like this will be nice as a summer shade, so we're gonna keep this one for a little bit longer. This is one of my newest blushes. I just bought this last week. This is the Buxom Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush in the shade Seashells, and this is absolutely freaking stunning, you guys. It is so long lasting. I really think that primer infused thing, like at first I was like, oh, that must be a gimmick, but this lasted on my cheeks all day and just didn't budge. It has the most beautiful sheen, such a natural shade. Oh, so pretty. Not passing this on for quite some time. These two blushes from MAC I also just purchased last week. I've been like crazy buying blushes for the past month or two just because I was looking in this drawer and I just couldn't find anything that I really wanted to wear. I was getting so sick of all the blushes that I had, so for the past 2 months I have just been going crazy buying blushes, so there's going to be a lot of ones that I'm going to keep because they are pretty much brand new. That includes these two from MAC that I just purchased. This one is in the shade Warm Soul, and this one is in the shade Sweet Enough, and these are both their mineralized blushes. You guys, I am actually kind of obsessed with these blushes. I've been wearing them for the past few days, and holy crap, like, oh, so pretty, so pretty. Yeah, these have such a beautiful sheen to them. They look absolutely gorgeous on the cheeks. They lasted all day. This one is just like the perfect pink, like mauvey pink, and this one is the perfect peachy nude, so definitely gonna keep these. I cannot wait to play with these more. The packaging is kind of bulky and annoying, but they're absolutely stunning. We're definitely keeping those two. You need to get into this because I have so many that I know I'm gonna pass on, so let's get right into it. So the first one that's like crammed into the front there, this is a sample size of a Becca blush. It's in the shade Snapdragon. This doesn't look like anything I'd ever wear compared to all the other blushes I've showed you so far, but it's so pretty. It's like this really vibrant fuchsia with gold sheen all throughout. Like, I don't think I could pass this one on yet. It's so tiny too, and I have not even made a dent into it, so I think I'm gonna keep this one for a little while longer, see if I actually reach for it. This is an oldie. Oh my god, this is actually crazy. Like, this is one of the first blushes that I ever bought. I don't think this is the original one, but this is one of the first blushes that I ever like started to purchase, you know? This is the NARS blush in the shade Orgasm. I think this one might be broken. This is like the most beautiful coral with the gold shimmer throughout it. It actually has like little flecks of glitter. So what I'm gonna do, I think I am actually gonna throw this one out. I don't think I'm gonna pass it on because it's broken and there's not really much that you can work with. I don't really reach for this that much anymore because there's so many other options. But I'm gonna throw it out, and then if I feel like I'm missing something from my soul a few months from now, they still carry this. So I can always go out and repurchase it. And I have a NARS Pro discount, so it's not like it's that much of an expense. So, I mean, obviously NARS blushes are very expensive, but if I can get a little money off, it's better than nothing. It just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that they do still have this if I feel like I do need it in my collection. And I need to repurchase it anyways because it is broken, so gonna probably throw this one out. Next we have this sample size of the Tarte blush in the shade Party. I believe I received this in my birthday thing from Sephora. This is actually a really stunning pinky nude blush. I don't really have anything else like this. It's very cool toned, but I do reach for this quite a lot when I want a blush like that, so we're gonna keep that one. This is the Benefit blush in the shade Coralista. This is very old. I think I'm gonna pass this one on just because, again, just like the NARS blush, this one is still Benefit still carries this blush, and I don't really see myself reaching for it that often, but if for some reason, again, just like the NARS one, if I feel like I am missing something from my collection, I can always go and repurchase it. This one's really old anyways. There's definitely a lot of product left in there, so we're gonna pass this baby on. Next, we have two blushes from The Balm Cosmetics. This is in the shade Cabana Boy, and this one is their In Stain blush, and this one's in the shade Pinstripe. So these are both pretty old and well-loved as well. This one is a very deep, like mauve-y, purpley, pinky shade. And then this one's definitely more purple. Oh, totally purple. Oh my god. I haven't swatched these in so long. I actually haven't used either one of these blushes in a very long time. They're very different blushes. It just doesn't want to stay open. These are two of like the most unique blushes I think in my collection. I don't have anything like this. I don't purchase anything like this anymore because I'm more of like the warm, peachy, nude kind of, that kind of tone. I like that a little bit more, so I don't know what to do. They have a really nice sheen to them. I think I'm gonna pass them on. I think I'm gonna pass the purple one on and maybe keep Cabana Boy. The purple one I just know that I'm really not gonna wear. I don't wear purple colors ever, so I'm gonna pass on the In Stain Pinstripe blush, but I'm gonna keep Cabana Boy a little bit longer. So the next two blushes might be some of the oldest blushes in my collection. I remember purchasing these. I remember posting about them on Instagram. I was so excited. These might have actually been one of my first MAC purchases ever, which is just insane to me. These are two of their Extra Dimension blushes. This one's in the shade Fiery Impact, and this one's in the shade Flaming Chic. Fiery Impact is actually really stunning, and oh, it's so cool. It's more of like a red-toned, warm blush. I'm going to keep this one because I think it's a really unique shade. I don't think I'm going to keep Flaming Chic because I don't really wear bright pink blushes ever. I don't think I'm going to have any use for this, so we're going to pass that one on. Next, we have this blush from Studio Makeup. I believe I got this in one of my BoxyCharms a few years ago, actually. And this is in the shade Wildflower. This is a really beautiful blush, and I do reach for this pretty often. It's very sheer. It's more of like a warm, pinky shade. I don't really know, but I kind of just want to keep it because I know that I do reach for it every now and then. I really like colors like this, so we're going to keep this one for a little bit longer. Next, we have a blush from Makeup Geek. Again, I think I got this in one of my BoxyCharms. And again, just like in my last video, you are going to hear that a lot because I get a BoxyCharm every month, and I usually keep everything that I get in there, and it just builds up, and it's very overwhelming, but whatever. This is the Makeup Geek blush in the shade Covet. So this shade is pretty interesting. I don't really reach for a lot, so I don't know if I want to keep it. It's very deep, and I'm pretty fair, so I think it's just a little too dark for my skin tone, but it has a really beautiful sheen to it. I don't really know what I want to do with this. I wonder if I should put this into my Pro Kit. I feel like that'd be a really nice shade for tanner skin tones. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can depot this and then possibly put it into my Pro Makeup Kit because I do think it's a really beautiful color. I just don't think I have a use. I don't have a use for it for me personally because it's just not my type of shade. Next, we have a blush from the shade Mellow. This is in the color Bronze. This is a really unique blush color, actually. It almost looks more like a bronzer, but it's just a very nude kind of bronzy blush. That's exactly what it is. And let me swatch Toasted Cinnamon from Burt's Bees right next to that because now that I'm looking at it, they look super similar. Yeah. This one definitely is a little bit more cool toned and doesn't have as much of a sheen. I don't know what to do, guys. I think I'm gonna pass this one on. I don't think I actually need it in my collection. I don't reach for it that often, although it is pretty different. I feel like if I wanted a bronzy cheek, I could just use a bronzer instead of using this blush. So we're gonna pass this one on. Next, we have a blush from ColourPop. This is in the shade Cruel Intentions. It's one of their Super Shock cheeks. I think I have to throw this out. I think this is so old and it's dried up, so we're gonna actually just throw this one out. I don't think it's even worth passing on because you can't use it. And finally, in this little section, we have two Milani Baked Blushes. One is in the shade Dolce Pink and the other one is in the shade Luminoso. I'm definitely keeping Luminoso because this is just a staple drugstore blush. It's so stunning. I think I'm going to pass on Dolce Pink. I really don't use this ever. and it's just not for me. It's way too glittery, too pink. I really don't like this one. I'm going to reorganize this little section. I'm going to put any like round packaged blushes in this organizer and any square or weird shaped ones right in front. That's so exciting. I love being a little bit more organized. Let's keep going. Okay, let's move on to this little area here now. This is because I've just been like overflowing with product. This has kind of become like a blush and highlight section. This is another newer one from the brand Flower Beauty. This one's in the shade Warm Hibiscus. This one I haven't played with too much. It's very shiny, very sheeny. It's more of like a blush topper. You can barely even see any blush pigment in that shade. It's more highlight, honestly. But I want to play with it a little bit more, even though it's not something that I would necessarily always reach for. I just bought it, so I don't really want to pass it on just yet. I'm going to put it right behind the other flower blush. This is an Hourglass blush in the shade Mood Exposure. This is so stunning. This is a sample size. It's very small, but I feel like there's enough product in here that's going to last me a while. This is a more like cool toned pinky blush. It has that like nude marbling throughout the blush to make it very natural. And it does have a little bit of a sheen to it. This is a newer purchase as well, so I'm going to keep this one. It's really pretty. I'm going to put it in the front here to go with like the sample size blushes. Just makes more sense to me. Next we have this blush from Essence Beauty. This is their Satin Touch blush in the shade Satin Love. This is so stunning. I just purchased this when I got the Flower Beauty blushes. So different, so natural and nude. Oh, I'm obsessed with this blush, and it's so affordable. Oh, it's just so nice. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna put it right here. I absolutely love that blush. It has a really nice sheen to it too. It's just so, I love that blush. I'm just obsessed with it. Next we have this little duo from Tarte. It's a Blush and Glow duo in the shade Peach Glow. This has a blush and a highlight. This is a stunning peachy pink blush. I really, really like that. It's nice and pigmented, really natural. And this highlight is even pretty. It's not like the best quality, and it actually feels like it's about to fall out of the package. I don't know, it's a weird texture. I reach for it every now and then, but I really just have this for the blush, and I am gonna keep it because I think that blush is really pretty. All right, I think everything else on this part, in this part of the drawer, is highlight. So we're actually gonna go to the back of the drawer because I have a couple of blushes back here. I don't know why I stuck this all the way in the back of my blush drawer. This is actually brand new and it is freaking stunning. This is the Jouer Adore Blush Duo. It has two blushes and they're absolutely gorgeous. Such beautiful nude peachy pink blushes. Obsessed with this, and I'm actually gonna put this in the front of the drawer so I remember to use it because that's just really sad that I even did that. This back here, I just realized that I forgot to pull this one out. This is a Stila Cream bronzer contour color and highlight thing. I'm gonna pass this on. I really never reach for it. I have other products that I use for cream bronzing and contouring, so we're gonna pass this guy on. Okay, I am feeling so much better already and we haven't even finished this drawer yet.